You're gonna see one of the most amazing indicator ever created on TradingView platform. I will teach you how you can effectively use this indicator for trading, so make sure you watch this video until the end and let's get started. But before I add the indicator, if you like my contents, please support the channel by liking the video and subscribing to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Alright, to add this amazing indicator to our chart, here we click on indicators and we search dynamic liquidity heat map profile, this one, which is a new indicator from Big Beluga. Alright, this is the indicator, and as you can see, it's overlaid on the price chart. This indicator is a smart liquidity tracker, and it will help you to identify where stop loss clusters and potential limit orders are positioned. Unlike other volume profile indicators that are only based on executed volume in different price ranges, this indicator, by dynamically scanning the recent swings of the price in conjunction with volume expansion, it tries to identify and project probable liquidity pools. But you may ask, what is liquidity pool? Liquidity pool are where traders have placed their stop loss orders and limit orders, and they may get trapped there by smart money. That's where the smart money may go and hunt the stop losses. Liquidity pools form above swing high or below swing low. For example, traders who opened a short position here, they set their stop loss orders above this level in this zone. This is where they say if the price goes to this zone, so they were wrong about opening a short position and they want to exit their short position. To exit their short positions, they need to place a long position. So here in this zone, we have many stop loss orders and limit orders that are in the form of long positions. So here we have buy side liquidity. Market makers and large institutional traders, they know this very well, and they take advantage of this buy side liquidity that we have here. They usually push the price in these zones to trigger the stop loss and limit orders and capture the liquidity that is available here. When the liquidity is swept and there is no more buy orders to be filled, they start exiting, and usually the price reverses down considerably. These institutional traders enter with very large amount of money, and by stop hunting like this, they create considerable price movement in the market, and of course huge profit for them, because as I said, they enter with very large amount and they exactly know what they are doing. We have the same for sell side liquidity, which forms below swing lows. For example, traders who enter a long position here, they place their stop loss orders below this level, for example in this zone, and nature of their stop loss order is short position. So here in this zone we have sell side liquidity, and as I explained, market makers and institutional traders take advantage of the sell liquidity that is available here. Alright, now you understand what is a liquidity pool and how the buy side liquidity and sell side liquidity are created and how they are captured by institutional traders. And this indicator helps you exactly on this. It tries to identify and project the probable liquidity pools, and it highlights areas with the greatest liquidity attraction. Before I start explaining how you can interpret this indicator, I'm proud to announce that recently I published a book, The Art of Price Action Trading, which is a complete guide to price action analysis. The link is in the description and you can get it later if you want to master price action trading. Alright, getting back to our indicator, you can see that we have horizontal bars that are shown on the price chart, and these horizontal bars show the depth and intensity of probable liquidity. So here we have horizontal bars for different price range, and for each of these price ranges that the horizontal bars are drawn, here on the right side we have a histogram. For each of these bars we have a bar here in the histogram, and these bars show the amount of executed volume in each of these price ranges. For example, in this price range, this is the amount of traded volume. It is written here for each price range inside each of these bars, and the size of each bar also shows the amount of the traded volume. So the larger the bar, the higher was the amount of volume in that price range. As I said, this indicator uses a mix of recent volatility and volume expansion to estimate the significant liquidity levels on the chart. So here we have a dynamic liquidity detection that recent swings of the price are also considered in the calculation. Depending on the current price, which for example on this chart, the current price is here, the chart is divided into two parts. Below the current price, where the bars and histogram are shown by green color, they will help us with sell side liquidity. In other words, the liquidity clusters that are positioned by the buyers. And above the current price, where the bars and histogram are shown by blue color, we are dealing with buy side liquidity. In other words, the liquidity clusters that are positioned by the sellers. So here, below the current price, we are dealing with bullish sentiment. In other words, advancing of the price is expected when the price hits these liquidity zones. And here, above the current price, we are dealing with bearish sentiment. In other words, decline of the price is expected to happen when the price hits these liquidity levels. So below the current price, the indicator is identifying the potential bullish liquidity zones, and above the current price, the indicator is identifying the potential bearish liquidity zones. In the identified liquidity zones, the higher the volatility in each price range and the higher the volume in that price range, the deeper and stronger is the liquidity expectation. In the price ranges that we have higher and stronger liquidity expectation, the brighter is the color and also a little bit wider. As I said, the higher the volatility and the higher the amount of the traded volume, the stronger could be the potential liquidity level, and it is shown by brighter color. For the look-back period that the indicator is calculating these potential liquidity zones, for the price range that we have the highest amount of volatility and also highest amount of volume, the horizontal bar on the price chart and also the bar on histogram, they are shown by orange color, and this is the peak liquidity, potentially the highest concentration of liquidity. This is usually called point of control, and it is an important level that you must pay attention. Here on this chart, the indicator is telling us that for this identified liquidity zone, for this price range, we have the highest amount of volatility and volume. So this is an important level that we must watch for the future price action. Each of these liquidity zones will act like a resistance level, and so turning of the price is probable to happen when the price reaches to these levels. And here, below the current price, the identified liquidity zone will act like a support level, and turning of the price is expected to happen when the price reaches to this level. These identified levels can effectively help you with trade entry or setting your stop loss orders. For example, if you want to open a long position here, by the help of this indicator, you know that we have a potential liquidity zone here. And if we set our stop loss at this level, for example, it is very probable to be haunted before the price goes in our desired direction. So setting our stop loss below this, for example here, is a safer place just in case if institutional traders want to capture the liquidity here. A similar concept is used when you open a short position, and you must place your stop loss above the identified liquidity zone, so you will be safe in case if the liquidity is swept by institutional traders. As I mentioned earlier, these levels can also act as support or resistance level. So in a similar use case of support and resistance levels for trade entry or setting profit target, you can use these levels for estimation of the price movement before stopping and probably turning. This indicator can be used on any time frame, whether it's short time frame or long time frame, and based on the volatility and traded volume in each price range, it will help you to identify the potential liquidity zones and effectively use them in your trading strategy. Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask and leave a comment for me. I'll answer your questions as soon as possible. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell so you get the notifications of my new videos. See you guys in next video, and good luck with your trading.